K5 here from the basement today. Just going to do a quick video on some deer jerky and using this jerky cannon. I'm going to get some hamburger out of the deep freeze. Make sure you freeze it for anywhere from 14 to 30 days in the deep freeze down to about 0 degrees. Make sure you kill any germs. So I'm going to get about 2 pounds, maybe 2 1/4 pounds out. I'm going to make 2 different kinds of jerky, so that's the first thing we'll do. Oh, look at that big one. We're going to go ahead and let this thaw out a little bit, season it up, and we're going to go from there. Well, that ground venison has thawed out. Actually, it took a little over a day and a half to thaw out. It was so frozen. Of course, did it in the refrigerator. And we're going to use the LEM Jerky Cannon to go ahead and make this jerky. We're not quite to that point yet, but let's just take a quick look at what's in this box. It's got the flat nozzle in there, the round nozzle, a brush, and some seasoning packets in it. And here we go. Again, here's our 2 seasoning packets, one to do the sticks and one to do regular jerky, and I will be using this one today. And a brush for cleaning. And we have the nozzles, and as you can hear, these are metal nozzles, so don't have to worry about them breaking or cracking. And here's our jerky cannon. This is also metal, as you can hear. As far as the parts on it, quality parts, everything is heavy duty on this. We have a couple of instructions booklet, a important note on how to pull the plunger back. No recipes, which I'm kind of surprised about, but I think really they just want you to use their seasoning packet, so they didn't include any recipes. They say to go ahead and continue to use those. Just some simple instructions, very quick and easy to read. So we'll get that out of the way, we'll get our ground venison out, and we'll start to season that up. We're going to do 2 batches, one peppered, very plain or just pepper jerky, and the other using that Backwoods seasoning. So I'm going to get the seasonings ready and then get the ground venison out, mix it up. And I'm going to use fresh ground pepper for this. I'm going to use a tablespoon of the Mediterranean sea salt. This is fine, and this measurement is not exact, so I can put that there. I'm going to go ahead and mix those ingredients together before I get the venison out, and go ahead and we'll get our proper amount of our Backwoods seasoning. This is the original. 4 of these teaspoons for our little over a pound of venison. Tell you the truth, I don't really think you actually need the cure if you're doing refrigerated jerky like I'm doing, but I'll just go ahead and put it in. And we have our 1/4 teaspoon, and here it is. Put it in some bags in case these have a tendency to leak when you're thawing them out. So I have a couple bowls, some gloves here, plastic gloves. I'll go ahead and put the 2 pounds of ground venison in each bowl and get to mixing. And believe it or not, after a day and a half or more, still a little bit frozen in the inside, so really tells you how cold that freezer is, and that we don't have to worry about any bacteria certainly living in this venison. And here's our first pound we're going to use for the pepper jerky. Break this up a little bit, and just going to go ahead and put our salt and pepper mixture right on top, and then blend it in. And make sure that gets mixed. I don't mind getting in there with my hands and just getting it all in there, making sure it's all pepper is and salt is throughout the entire jerky. We'll get a nice good flavor. Then go form this into a nice lump, almost like a giant meatloaf. So that one is ready. We'll get this one broken up a little bit. I'm going to use a little bit of water to help dissolve that seasoning mixture. First I want to get this set. Seasoning mixture on here, the Backwoods that came with the LEM Jerky Cannon. And then I'm going to go over to the sink and get just about an ounce of water to put on that. Per the instructions, and we'll go ahead and mix this one in. After I get that seasoning deep into the venison. Alright, I'll form the little meatloaf. So all the seasoning should permeate through the meat as it's marinating in the fridge, again for anywhere from 4 to 8 to overnight. I'll put saran wrap on this and go ahead and put it in the fridge. I'll put a little bit more pepper over this one. Alright, have a nice tight seal on both of these. I'll go ahead and put them back into the fridge, get everything cleaned up here, and then be back to load the jerky cannon up and get the dehydrator out. Well, the venison has been in the fridge for 8 hours. Again, marinating the spices through the venison itself, so we're ready to go ahead and load the jerky gun up and then go ahead and spread it into the trays. So let's go ahead and do that now. We'll take our saran wrap off. And our jerky here we're going to roll into some tube shapes to go ahead and drop into the jerky cannon. Mix a little bit more of that pepper in there. And let's roll some tube shapes out now. The tube shapes just drop into the cannon a little bit easier, either sticking on the side, as you can see some of this gets sticky, as you can see on the glove there, and it stops from getting air pockets in there. So let's just get a few of these rolled out. Okay, I'm going to take one glove off here and go ahead and load up the cannon. And here it is right here, as you can see. Have the plunger all the way out. And we'll just drop these tubes down into the cannon. And we'll get our last piece in there. Just have a little bit left over. I'll take my other glove off, put the nozzle on, and we'll start to load the trays. And this is a Nesco Pro food dehydrator, jerky dehydrator. And we have our racks. Put that on a piece of plastic. And we'll go ahead and fill this up. We have about 2.5 trays filled with our first pound of the pepper jerky. I'll leave this here and use that again. And we'll go ahead and get out the flavored jerky, the Backwoods, and do the same thing. Had a little bit left just in the end of the spout. Got it on the wax paper, flattened it out. Going to just go ahead and cut it with the knife into strips. Load it up onto the rest of the rack. And we had our little over 2 pounds of ground venison. And as you can see, we have 5 racks full. And we're already in our Nesco dehydrator. Let's get this plugged in. And I have it set to 160 degrees. We'll be back along the way to check on it and to see if there's anything that needs to be dabbed off. Now, if you do see some fat coming out, you can take the paper towel, dab it off, dab that fat off of there, and continue to dehydrate it. Well, it's been a little over an hour now, and we'll take it off just to see, and hopefully you can see a little bit of that moisture that's on coming out, and that should just dab that off real quick. You don't have to get real technical with it. And as you can see, some of that fat is starting to come out. As long as you spread it out, it ends up drying. So I'll go ahead and do this to all the racks. Now the jerky's been in the dehydrator for about 3.5, going on 4 hours. And it looks to be about finished. You can certainly, if you like crispier or drier jerky, you can certainly let it go. But as we can see, it is looking good. I'm going to let these trays cool and put it in some plastic bags and put it into the refrigerator. The LEM Jerky Cannon and the Nesco dehydrator. We have some nice peppered jerky in the bag ready to go in the fridge, and the Backwoods. So this is White Rug 85 signing out off the Delmarva Peninsula tonight with some fresh made deer jerky.